What are some of the pieces of data pertinent to the resurrection when examining the question, did Christ rise from the dead? First, the existence of the Christian Church is a fact. It is worldwide in scope. Its history can be traced back to Palestine around AD 32. The Acts of the Apostles is a litany of stories relating how the message of Jesus and his resurrection stirred whole communities. The believers were first called Christians in the city of Antioch. In Thessalonica, Paul's preaching persuaded some of the Jews, a large number of God-fearing Greeks, and not a few prominent women to believe. The message literally turned the world upside down.
But when they did not find them, they dragged Jason and some other believers before the city officials, shouting, "These men, who have caused trouble all over the world, have now come here."
Jesus' followers constantly referred to the resurrection as the basis for their teaching, preaching, living, and, significantly, dying. Second, the Christian day is a fact. That is, Sunday is the day of worship for Christians. Its history can also be traced back to the year AD 32. Such a shift in the calendar was monumental. Something cataclysmic must have happened to change the day of worship from the Jewish Sabbath, the seventh day of the week, to Sunday, the first day. The writer of Acts, chapter 20, verse 7, simply stated,
"On the first day of the week we came together to break bread. Paul spoke to the people, and because he intended to leave the next day, kept on talking until midnight."
On the first day of the week we came together, which has become an established pattern. Christians said the shift came because of their desire to celebrate the day Jesus rose from the dead. This shift is all the more remarkable when we remember that the first Christians were Jews. If the resurrection does not account for this change, what does? Third, there is Christian Scripture, the New Testament. In its pages are contained independent testimonies to the fact of the resurrection. At least 3 of these were eyewitnesses: John, Peter, and Matthew. In addition, Luke's Gospel gives evidence of Jesus' resurrection by a historian with a classical background, known to have traveled with Paul and to have heard him preach the resurrection.
"Only Luke is with me. Get Mark and bring him with you, because he is helpful to me in my ministry."
In fact, writing to the churches at an early date, Paul referred to the resurrection in such a way that it is obvious to him and his readers the event was well known and accepted without question. Are these men who helped transform the moral structure of society consummate liars or deluded madmen? These possibilities stem from our knowledge of people of questionable character. But knowing what Jesus' followers did and what they taught and what they died for, it is far harder to believe that they were liars or madmen than it is to believe their account of Jesus, the incarnation of God, rising from the dead. Indeed, there is not a shred of evidence to support the view that the New Testament writers were liars or were mad. For intelligent belief, 2 facets of the resurrection require explanation by believer and non-believer alike. They are the empty tomb and the alleged appearances of Jesus Christ following his burial.